Okay, so just a quick video today because the usual calamity with the council and all that crap that's still going on 3 years later. Because one, they lost the wage slips that I sent them in the first place, and then they wanted ridiculous extra applications, and then through this year I've emailed them and they've said, oh, but it was sorted out in October 2011. Well, why then did they withhold the housing rent until February 2012, which was, well, this was the end of February 2012, which was basically 2 months after the home was repossessed. So yeah, that's kind of a bit dodgy, and then it's taken all this time to try and get anything sorted because, one, you can't apply for housing whilst you have no stable address, so whilst you're floating around on people's sofas and beds and stuff, you got no position to apply to it. And then, even then, after you do, they want 2 years history of exactly where you've lived, and including bill payments, which you can't do because if you haven't registered bills and things from them addresses, you're buggered. And another thing, 3 housing applications that I've sent them in this year. 3. How many have they successfully managed to do without losing? None. They've lost the loss of them, including my driver's license, which mysteriously completely disappeared in their process. So whether there's someone inside Birmingham applications just burning the things or stealing them and stealing identity documents, which would be even more dangerous, to be honest, because yeah, if there's someone in the housing application process stealing documents, probably to create false identities for foreign immigrants or something, because people do that, they get in these positions and they steal the documents. So, latest one was sent on the 13th of the 10th, 2014, and I checked. I've given them basically 2 months over to comply and send a response. No, nothing. And I sent it recorded time for, because after losing the last one, you know, I wasn't going to do it again, and I sent a photocopy of my driver's license this time, but originals are my bank statements, so that was kind of dumb. I really should have photocopied them as well, but you know, I think they prefer original documents because anyone can make anything look sort of similar to a document. So the tracking number is BZ289726211GB. It arrived on the 14th to their PO box for the applications, and I sent them an email, and lo and behold, they sent a response back, we've received no such application. So I've got fucking recorded delivery proving that you got it, so come on, what you doing? You know, no such application has been received. We'll send you another in the post, the 3rd one that I've sent, so this will be the 4th. And then I've got to find again another bank statement, which comes every 3 months, so that's yet more delays that they've processed, so they don't have to pay in the name of austerity and saving all the public debt, because they've got to make £100 million worth of debt saving by 2020, according to Europa, which is the EU governing body. Which gets me onto another matter, which I'm going to do in a far more extensive video, because it's taking a lot of effort to cut all the various proofs and research, because I'm not just going to spout the stuff and not show you the research, because you know you're going to want to see the actual proof of where the things come from and the sources. So one is, you know how there was the £1 billion worth of debt that had to be paid by December and all that calamity around that, and how we've managed to solve all that because our economy was apparently so much more improved than other countries, including Germany and France, which on the graph that I'll show on the other video, have more employment in their country than us. They have higher percentages of employment, so they're clearly better off. But no, we judge it by the unemployment figure, not the employment, which there's a 21% gap between of social exclusion, people just left out to die because they've been cut off by the government in the name of austerity and saving £100 million, because that's the deficit that they have to clear. And yeah, they're going through all the stupid things for doing that, like, oh, disabled people with no arms, they can work jobs, we won't pay them, unemployment and disabled allowance and all this other shit. So yeah, it's kind of really bad. And on, what was it? It's Sunday Politics or something, they were saying how it's improved for the high class, the rich people with upper class jobs, the middle class, it's sort of staying where it is, and the unemployed and low class, they're still much, much worse. So really, the ones at greatest risk of social exclusion are the ones still suffering. They've improved it for all the rich people and all the big business and poi ploy and yeah. But no, anyone that was suffering anyway and didn't have savings and maybe went to university to study to get a good job, which there aren't any good jobs because 250,000 people come into the country every year from what used to be 60,000. Again, thanks to Sunday Politics. Coming looking for work, and we're not allowed to do anything about it because they're in the EU and they can just come and do whatever they want and claim benefits. They seem to have more of a life than people actually born in this country that need homes and need jobs. Because it's the EU and we want to give the EU everything they want. Anyone who's played Spore Creature Creator, think of Level 4. Where there are 3 paths to victory. You can either be the warmonger, which puts everyone off and everyone comes to fight you. You could be the religious sects, which I never play, so I can't really comment whether that's an effective tactic. Or you can be the communists, not communists, because that's completely the wrong sense of the word. The capitalists, where you send your employers and goods to drain out the country and have your people take it over and just basically put them in so much debt that you give up your country and they take it over. Yeah. But then there's all the people who go, oh, it's racist to say, oh, this country can't be allowed to come into this. No, because Australia and America and China and India and other places that have better economies than, quite frankly, some certain countries in the EU that have joined, they have more restrictions. Like, they're starting to bring in, the 4 years before you can claim benefits and all this, and maybe you have to be actually qualified to come into the country looking for work rather than just come and hope for the best and, yeah, fill a country full of people that are already full of people, so it puts immense pressure on the housing and the economy in general. Yeah, that doesn't really make sense, does it? I mean, think about it. And then there's Switzerland and Germany and all this other people who are starting to shut off their borders. They're not being called racists because their economies can't cope with the influx of people. Imagine this, it's from going from first gear to fifth gear. Say we're a fifth gear economy, we're one of the better ones, and then a first gear economy just comes crashing into it straight up. You're going to grind the gears and chop off half the gears and completely crash the car. So that's kind of what happened with the economic crisis, isn't it? These countries join the EU and spread out into every richer country in the EU, and then all of a sudden there's no work for the general public and people who went to university and different things. So everyone got screwed over. There's no jobs, no homes, nothing, when there used to be an abundance of all of this. And then they kind of scapegoated on the banks and all these other things, but that seems a bit coincidental that that's the exact time frame that it happened, really, isn't it? So maybe you want to look into that part yourself as well. But that's the main thing I wanted to complain about is, what are they doing in the council? I mean, just losing your applications constantly as an effort to delay and not have to help people who they screwed out of their home anyway, who was actively looking for work and wanted a job. But no, no jobs going, so yeah, they screw you over completely, and it's like, we'll investigate all of this. Oh yeah, we've investigated it, but we still won't pay you for another 5 months whilst you send further proofs and complain and send in more applications, and the housing association makes you send in even more applications on top of that. And yeah, it's just a fucking ridiculous process, and it's but then again, with all the so-called racism, but then Labour and all the other things saying, oh, well, we're joining in, we'll put border checks and, make sure that they can't claim benefits for 4 years just like the rest of the world. And then the news was, oh, well, they'll stop us coming here. It's like, yeah, we kind of need the jobs for people in this country as well. And what do you expect us to do? Do you expect us to run across to America or something? To go, we need work, we need homes. I mean, what's wrong with creating jobs and homes in the country that they have? It's a bit ridiculous. And then there's the whole list of the employment things, and there's some countries with 50% employment. That's kind of ridiculously low, 50%, and then they come here looking for jobs and just make it even more difficult for people in this country to get jobs and homes. And yeah, then there's all the Greenbelt land and all the other reasons that they can't have homes, and all the EU employment. Oh yeah, that's another one. The wages from the EU, because by 2020 they have to have significantly raised the lowest wage so that people can have a livable wage. And then how that was such a big voting tactic. Oh, we're all doing it for the good of the people. No, it's nothing at all to do with the fact that it's on the EU severe recommendations of what we need to do to fix the country, or you won't be in the EU anymore. No, nothing at all to do with that, is it? Hence every party doing it. And they're not really doing it as a good job either. It's like, we'll increase it this much over the next 5 years, which is basically what they would have done with inflation anyway. So this kind of balance of net zero raise in wages. So you're not getting a livable employment raise. You're getting nothing. Because your wages, your bills, your rents, everything is going up in the same sort of rates. Yeah, it needs to have improved significantly more, significantly quicker, in my opinion. And they're not going to clear the deficit by 2020, so I'm sensing there could be political unrest with the EU. And maybe that's another reason they want to leave. It's like, yeah, we're going to leave before you're even going to screw us out here anyway. So, and maybe that'll be better for us, to be honest, because we kind of want our own economy anyway with our own we've got the pound instead of the euro and all this other stuff, but we used to do better when we had less in line with the EU, to be honest. But think of that what you will, and take it whatever way you want, because clearly if you dare speak out about it, ooh, you're racist and all this other crap, because that's what they want people to spread. It's like, oh no, don't do that because that's considered racist, and then we can carry on doing what we're doing and let the economy suffer and just let people die out on the streets or kill themselves, because there's lots of young people doing it on the news and constantly. And that's why, because young people are the ones getting screwed over the most. All the elderly and all the people who had their lives and had jobs and have security, yeah, they're perfectly fine. But no, anyone who actually might be the future of the country, nope, we don't care, we'll just leave you out to die. Survival of whoever has the biggest wallet. I don't know. Anyway. Hopefully I'll sort them out. Kind of getting highly rebellious, and yeah, it would be nice if there was a government uprising, but no, doesn't look like that'll happen quite yet, because they want it down. Yeah. We'll see.